everyone. Welcome to Weavercast. Weavercast is a weekly podcast providing tips and tricks for RapidWeaver and web design. I am your host, Joe Workman, an independent Mac and web developer based in San Francisco. This is show number 16, and today is Sunday, January 26th. Weavercast is never longer than 10 minutes, so let's get started. So in today's podcast, we're going to talk about different ways of previewing your websites outside of RapidWeaver. So why would we want to do this? There's a couple reasons. One of the obvious reasons is that we're going to go over today is PHP. So there are two different types of kind of page extensions commonly used inside RapidWeaver. The first is HTML, and that is basic HTML and JavaScript and CSS, and that should actually preview just fine inside RapidWeaver. You should have no problems. However, there are a lot of complex add-ons and that are really cool that use something called PHP. And PHP is a server-side programming language. And so what that means is that if a user visits a web page, the server will process PHP first, if it's required, if it's the page extension. So the server will process your PHP, and then based on that results, it'll serve down HTML to the web browser. So since RapidWeaver does not have a web server built into it, it actually has some issues displaying complex PHP. And it works for simple things, and we'll go over a couple examples that work and what won't work inside. But what if we don't actually want to publish our website and we want to preview these more complex add-ons? Well, it's really simple. We'll go over how you can actually create a web server on your Mac and then preview your RapidWeaver websites inside of it. Okay, it's really simple. It's going to be really cool. Now, another great reason to use this is, let's say, for example, you're working on a complete redesign of your website, or maybe you're working on a couple new web pages, and you actually don't want to publish them online yet, and you want to actually preview them locally as if your users were visiting them on an actual web server. So what this allows you to do is, substantiate a local web server on your machine, and then, preview that inside a browser just as if your users were visiting your live production website. So without further ado, let's jump in and see how cool this is. So here I've set up a sample RapidWeaver project, and I've used my slot machine stack. Now my slot machine stack uses some simple PHP that randomly selects data that you've added into it. So here I've defined 5 different slots, and Slot Machine will randomly pick one of those to display. So every time I go back in and out of preview, different items are chosen and displayed to the users. So here I've added my QuickPix Instagram stack. Now QuickPix is a great stack that actually uses PHP on the server to query your Instagram photos and then feeds them down to the browser using Ajax. Now, this is really a great stack. However, it will not work in RapidWeaver preview mode because it uses a lot of really fancy PHP classes on the server that it's just too much for RapidWeaver to handle within preview mode. So how can we view this live on our Macs before we actually publish our website to our servers? Well, the answer to that question is MAMP. MAMP is a dead simple web server that you put on your machine, and you can substantiate a web server with just a click of a button. And what's even better is it's completely free. Just simply go to mamp.info and download the free version, and you'll be good to go. Now, I'll show you how to actually configure the free MAMP version. However, you'll probably see me use MAMP Pro as well. MAMP Pro isn't necessarily required at all. I've been using MAMP for so long that I purchased the Pro version mostly to show support for this great project. However, the free version will serve you perfectly for all your previewing needs for RapidWeaver. Now, before we can configure MAMP to preview our RapidWeaver sites, we're going to actually have to create some content locally on our machine for it to actually use. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use RapidWeaver's export functionality. So within your RapidWeaver project, you can go ahead and go into File, Export Site. Or if you're a keyboard junkie like me, you can simply use Shift-Command-E, and that will trigger the export for you. So let's go ahead and do that. Shift-Command-E, and it will ask me, do I want to save my site? I will say yes. And then a a window will pop up. Now I've already created a folder here. So basically you're going to create a folder and then you're going to export your site to that folder. And then it's probably best to check mark the make this the default export folder just for ease of use later on. So after you've done that, we're done. So now that we've exported our files locally to Finder, we can point MAMP to it. So when you launch MAMP, you're going to go to your Preferences tab and go to Apache. And you'll see here where you can define the document root for your web server. Simply click Select and find the folder that you want to use as your website. Click Open and OK. And then you're going to want to start your web servers. And this is how it looks inside MAMP Pro. Simply configure your host by clicking on the Choose button here for disk location, select your folder that you need, and then click the Start button. Now, once that's completed, whether or not you've done it via the free version of MAMP or MAMP Pro, you actually don't need to touch MAMP again. Minimize the window, and let's get rocking and rolling. Now, in order to visit the website that we've now created using MAMP in our RapidWeaver export, is you open up Safari or your favorite web browser, and you go to localhost 8888. And magically, you'll see that we have our website that we've exported from RapidWeaver. So there, I've clicked and set up my Instagram authentication, and I magically have all of the images that are going to show up if I were to publish my site online, but they did not get displayed within RapidWeaver. So here I have my RapidWeaver project and Safari with my local web server that we've created with MAMP. Now, let's say I didn't like the small images and I want to go ahead and make them medium again. So I go ahead and change that, and let's go ahead and re-export our site. And we'll notice is once it's exported, my Safari browser automatically detected that changes were made and the browser was refreshed. I get instant feedback for my particular changes that I've made. Now that's really awesome. Yes, you could just go to Safari and manually refresh the page. But how cool was it that it did it all automatically for us? How did we do that? This was accomplished with a really cool app called Live Reload that's available on the Mac App Store. Check out the show notes for a link to it. Now, when you load Live Reload, you'll basically configure the folder that you want to watch by clicking the plus button, and you navigate to the folder that you'd like. And then basically you're done from that point on for RapidWeaver. Now, Live Reload does do a whole bunch of other options for compiling Sass and CoffeeScript and whatnot, but you don't need to worry about that for RapidWeaver. The next option is you're going to want to install browser extensions. So click on the Install Browser Extensions link here and install the browser extension for Safari. So after you've installed the Live Reload browser extension, you're going to want to make sure that you actually refresh the page if you're already on your MAMP page that we've created earlier. So basically go to localhost 888:888, refresh your browser window, and that will make sure that the Live Reload will actually be working with the current web page and it loads. Now, if you look at the icon, you'll notice that the center circle is transparent. Okay, if we click on the icon, you'll see that it goes opaque, and that means that Live Reload is now working and will auto refresh this page. Let's see it in action again. So here I have my RapidWeaver window again, and let's go ahead and make the thumbnail sizes small again. So I'm going to hit small, and I'm going to export my site. Again, Shift Command E, enter, enter. That exports my site. And if you'll notice, immediately my page was refreshed inside Safari because Live Reload auto-detected the changes and refreshed my browser for me. That is really cool, instant feedback for the configuration changes that you've made within RapidWeaver. Now, what's great is I never left edit mode. I can continue editing whatever I like. With a simple couple keyboard shortcuts, I can automatically preview my page in a live web browser, web server on my local machine. That's really cool. Thanks for joining today, everyone. I hope you learned a little bit and improved your your workflows and some, save you a little bit of time. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and please don't be scared to email me or contact me. You can reach me on the internets at Joe Workman on Twitter and app.net. You can reach me via email at support@joeworkman.net. And leave a comments in iTunes if you like, so we gain some popularity and some ratings. It would be greatly appreciated. As always, check out my great products to help support these free podcasts coming along. You can check out my products at joeworkman.net/RapidWeaver or some of my Mac apps at joeworkman.net/Mac. So I hope you have a great day, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.